Just as every motorcycle is a little different from every other motorcycle, so too the races are different from each other. Each racer prepares mentally in their own special way to get ready to go as fast as they can.
We go out there with the same thought as what I do for a practice. I go out there just to, be safe, have fun, and if I happen to do well, and like at the national meetings, I'm usually gridded pretty well at the back. And my philosophy about that is, it's just more people to pass. It usually doesn't happen that way, but nevertheless, that's my mental attitude when I go out there. Go out there with, be safe and have fun, and that's my race attitude, I don't have a race face, it's just have fun, Richard, I know, is a bit different.
Yeah, I tend to make myself a little bit nervous before races. If I'm really busy on the bike, if we have a problem, and I'm working on the bike and the time tends to tick by really quick, and next thing you know, it's ready for the race, I jump on and go, and I tend to usually do better that way. If I have a lot of free time and walking around and waiting for the race to happen, I tend to make myself a little bit nervous. That was especially true last year. This year, I've actually learned to just get on the bike and go, and I think that's more of that I have the confidence that I can do well now, and that I really do think I can ride with anybody in our club, in the local club for sure. I can ride with anybody in there.
Mental training. I've read quite a few books, and I go, like tonight I'll go to bed and I'll go around the track at least 30-40 times before I fall asleep. The whole day I'm doing that, thinking where I can be better, where I can brake harder. That has a lot to do with it. Sometimes I get busy and during the day and I can't do it, but I personally have to do it.
Preparing mentally for a motorcycle race is one thing, but preparing physically can mean the difference between riding hard for a few laps and riding hard the whole race.
I work out every day. It's usually with a knife and fork. No, to be truthful, I wish I could lose another 20-25 pounds. But these races, the national races, I generally lose a bit of weight because we don't eat as well, because my wife's not here. So we don't eat at breakfast time, we don't eat lunch. We drink plenty of water and what have you, but then we just have an evening meal. In fact, in the last 3 weeks, I've lost 18 pounds, but yeah, I mean, I've got a rowing machine at home, and occasionally I keep walking by it and thinking, I ought to use that.
To work out when I was doing motocross, because if you didn't, you're at a disadvantage, and that is really, really physical. This is not so much. I could probably get away with not working out at all and still be where I am. But mentally it really, really helps me. Plus I do a lot of thinking when I'm working out too.
I was in better physical shape. I could probably go at least 2 or 3 seconds faster than what I actually do because of the stamina. When you get in a 18 or 20 lap race, when it winds down to the last few laps, then you realize the stamina issue becomes a major factor. For me, I tend to just slow down a little bit and, probably be a little more cautious of what I'm doing. And it is the physical aspect, not the mental, it's just physical. You start to get a little tired, you don't get off the bike quite as much on corners, and, you maybe don't brake as hard coming into corners.
Well, I think what happens more than anything is without some physical conditioning, is later in the race is not that you get tired as much, you make a lot of mental mistakes because you're tired. You know, because you're thinking, geez, I wish it was over, or God, get me off the bike. And you know, you make a lot of riding mistakes that then makes it twice as hard to ride fast.
If you've ever hung around with any racers, you'll probably notice that the conversation usually includes something about tire wear. Because in a race where one set of tires lasts one race, you gotta know that your tires are gonna make it.
Go like Willow Springs, I can race, and I put new tires on for every race, front and rear, and I can be sliding after like 3-4 laps if I'm really on the gas, and that's not so bad during a race. If he starts doing it when I'm practicing, I use the old race tires to practice the following month, and I know when I'm really going fast because I'm sliding quite a lot. And then I look at the tire. If the tire looks pretty shredded, I'll just toss it.
Do you slide front and rear tires?
I try not to slide the front at all. No, usually the rear. The front will slide occasionally, but then it's straight in the trash can when it does.
Hey Tony, I'll come talk to you guys later. See ya. Does your son want to ask you a question?
What?
No what?
What?
Why?
No, not really.
Wearing that.
I mean, I could probably make tires go longer than what I do, but I've got a psychological thing. I think it's when I go out there on new tires for a race, I just mentally I'm just to the point where I want to go fast. If I go out for a race, and even though it's maybe only a 4 or 5 lap heat race with used tires, even though I know they're good, I just don't have that same amount of confidence that I do with a new set of tires. So consequently, at a club race, it's not too bad. I usually practice on used tires, probably from the meeting before, and then for the actual race day, I put on a new set of tires.
Phil and Rich both race in the 250 two-stroke division. That means that they race against each other in each and every race.
If we're out there racing together, and you know, I'll put the front wheel up inside him once we ride him. He's my dad, but once the green flag drops, he's just another guy on a 250. And I wouldn't want him to, if he was faster than me, I wouldn't want it any other way. If he could shove it up the inside, hey, have at it. So.
But that doesn't happen too often. It's usually the other way around.
One problem that all racers face in race teams is being able to keep their motorcycle constantly running fast. It takes a lot of time and money to run a race team, let alone keep it competitive. And if there's one thing that all racers have in common, it's the need to get sponsorship.
It depends on the sponsor. I have a lot of sponsors, oil helmets. They want basically, they want me to be out there and seen, and they want results. Results help, but they get a lot of publicity for me being a woman out there in a man's sport doing well. A lot of my sponsors I've had for years, some of them from motocross, and I've built up a reputation with them, and I could probably quit tomorrow and start again in 3 years, and they'd give me the same support. We send them monthly reports on how we're doing, and keep in touch with them. A lot of people get sponsors. Take the product from them, thank you, and they never hear from them again. You can't do that if you want to keep your sponsors.